6-2, the Oilers end 2025 with a thud in a dud of a game. Hey, everybody, welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola coming at you from the EST Satellite Studios inside beautiful downtown Edmonton. We've got Benny Thompson back at EST Global HQ on the city's west side, and then we're going to hear from Shawn Belle and Reed Wilkins on tonight's post-game show. Bellsy also at his satellite studios. Reed will be coming at us from Rogers Place as soon as he finishes up working the locker room after the Oilers lay an egg against the Boston Bruins. And listen, hey, I thought that they actually had some great opportunities, and when they did, Jeremy Swayman made some brilliant saves. He had about 150 saves on Connor McDavid. I am exaggerating and hyperbolizing a little bit, but especially in that first period, man, McDavid was flying, putting on a show. Swayman equal to the task. Took a brilliant play by McDavid to finally, get that one goal that Hyman got, and then Roslovic gets one in the third period, but by then the game was pretty much over. At the other end of the rink, guys, that was, I think we saw Connor Ingram with the 890 or 856 and the 4.04 GAA. I think that's what we saw at the other end of the rink. And a couple of them were not his fault, I'll say that, but there were some bad ones in there for sure. So, I think that'll give you some pause if you're an Oiler fan and maybe not as much confidence in Connor Ingram. And listen, the Oilers were pretty loose in front of him as well. All right, Benny, we're going to get your thoughts in a sec. I'm just going to rattle off a couple of things. Text us, 780-218-9999. That's the text line if you want to share your thoughts on tonight's Oilers loss. And then, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, thumbs up, always appreciated last time for 2025. And get into the nasty chat. Edmonton falls to 20-15-6. Boston improves to 21-18-2, snapping a losing streak. And, of course, GCL Diesel, presenting sponsor of the Oil Stream post-game show and providers of the best diesel edge components around, from turbochargers to ejectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical edge component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. GCL Diesel. Understood. Yeah, there we go. I know we're not the same as Reed and Jay, but we'll get that. We'll get that one day. All right, Benny, your thoughts, and then welcome in Bellsy when you get a chance.
Yeah, this one's a weird one because it's like Oilers had opportunities. There was moments where okay, they could have had 2 or 3 goals there. Yeah, and then there was other moments where you're like, you can't make a 2-foot pass. Like, what are we doing? Yep. It was all over the place tonight. To me, I thought the 6-2 loss was a little misleading. I didn't think it was that big of a blowout game for the Bruins. I think the Oilers probably still deserved to lose, but tonight to me was a big difference. It showed you the difference between an elite goalie in the NHL versus a goalie that was just called up from the minors that had the worst numbers in the minors. Now, Ingram, in his first 3 games at Edmonton, looked pretty good. Yes. And the way the game started, it was looking pretty solid. And then it just kind of started to slowly make its way down throughout the rest of the game. The whole game wasn't on him, definitely not, but was not a great performance by him, and some of the guys in front of him too, not great as well. They were a little leaky on defense today, allowed too many grade A's, and they also weren't efficient enough in the offensive zone to bury it on a pretty good Jeremy Swayman tonight. So it was not a great game at all for the Oilers. Sky's not falling for me though. It's a game where it's rough one. You hope they put it behind them and move on.
All right, let's welcome in Shawn Belle. I'll rattle off some stats from Brian Swain. Some ones. New Year's Eve has been unkind historically to the Edmonton Oilers franchise. Edmonton now has 5 wins in 26 New Year's Eve games all time. The record falls to 5 wins, 16 losses, 4 overtime losses, and 1 tie. They have the worst point percentage, 0.289 of all active franchises on New Year's Eve games. They had won their previous 2 New Year's Eve games, but couldn't make it 3 in a row for the first time, which I guess is fitting for this team. Thank you, Swainer, Brian Swain, with that stat. As we welcome Bellsy in, our game analyst. Hello, Bellsy. The fancy jacket is gone.
I had to put it away.
You just want to show off You want to show off the traps and the work you've been doing on the traps?
Absolutely. Jacked and juicy.
Jacked and juicy, baby. And a little red wine on this site. You know what? I do have a daddy drink in this. I might have a skunky beer in here. And cheers to all of you guys. I know we'll do it at the end of the night as well. But you heard Benny break down and give some of his thoughts on tonight's game. I'm with Benny in lockstep because a little sloppy, Bellsy, a little sloppy at both ends. But Swayman made the saves. Ingram did not. How'd you see it?
Yeah, I thought it was a sloppy game because there were stretches where they couldn't make a tape-to-tape pass. Yeah. Pucks were bobbling over their sticks. Like, they tried to make a move. All of a sudden, it would just die on their stick and kind of roll off. So there was those situations in the game. But at the exact same time, like, I'd almost argue they may have had more high-danger chances than the Bruins did.
I think so, too. Yeah.
So while it was sloppy, they still generated on the offensive end. They couldn't score because Swayman was he was fantastic in net. He was a brick wall, but it was kind of I can't say porous defense because I don't think it was as bad as that. But there was some lapses on the defensive end. The coverage was a little bit spotty, which led to some goals. I mean, I text you guys and basically said Bouchard accidentally blocked 2 shots because he was in bad position. And, like Pastrnak on the one was basically wide open back door, which would have been his hat trick. And it was just like plays like that, which didn't help them in the long run. But yeah, overall, like a decent effort, but just a very weird up and down game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I suppose there's some frustration anytime this team loses. It looked like McDavid was trying to will them to lead and just couldn't. And then Benny said it, you see an elite goaltender and what he can do at this level. And then you see a guy finding his game. Got to give Ingram props for the way he returned to the National Hockey League in the first 3 starts. But tonight, I was texting with Ryan Holt, and I was like, Holty, I think we're seeing the guy that had that .856 save percentage and .404 goals against average. And the Pastrnak first goal, the bank, like clever play by him, but that shouldn't go in, you guys. Mm-hmm. That really shouldn't go in.
No, it probably shouldn't. But at the same time, if McDavid does that, what are we saying?
Brilliant goal.
Brilliant goal.
Well, Pastrnak is brilliant as a player. He's clever. He's crafty.
Fantastic player. Like, the only thing about that goal is I thought that he was a little bit slow in his movement, trying to get back up and getting into that getting into that reverse VH. So I thought that movement was a little bit slow, which allowed them. Benny, what do you got, buddy?
Neighbors are having fun.
They're breaking in the new year the only way they know how.
Some guy just went on the intercom, so I was curious to see what was going on.
We're gonna have to put that aside for now.
Yeah, I will not repeat what he said.
Go ahead, Belsey.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, like he just was a little bit slow in his movement, and it was a nice goal by Pastrnak.
Okay, Belsey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like that's a good point. If McDavid makes that play or Draisaitl, we go, hey, good heads up. Very clever, realizing the goalie's slow getting back to position off the carom, off the back wall. The middle stat one, bit of a breakdown there. Middle stat comes off the bench with speed, gets the puck. Nice feed from Arvidsson, by the way. Yeah. And he goes short side on Ingram. Then, or did he go glove on that one?
Blocker, I believe.
Blocker. It was short side.
I think.
Okay. Yeah. Then in the second period, it's Lindholm. I didn't like that goal either. Ingram was being screened, quote unquote, by Arvidsson. Listen, it was a shot top shelf, but I don't know. I think you got to have that one, don't you? And then the one.
Well, it's a weird one because he stands straight up, right, and he can see over Arvidsson. But as Lindholm's about to load up in the shot, he wants to get down into his stance. Mm-hmm. And so as he gets down into his stance, he actually gets screened by Arvidsson.
Right.
And so he moves at the last minute, which I like to call a flashing screen. So you're taking the eyes away from the goaltender as that release is happening. And as soon as that release happens, you lose track of the puck. And as he starts to lean right, Well, the puck ends up just basically beating him because he can't see exactly where that puck is.
Right.
And you can see that Arvidsson moves at that last minute to basically roll to try to see if he can get a rebound, which obviously there wasn't. So,
and then, okay, so
we have that probably, but it was a good play by Arvidsson, and the way that he got down into his crouch, I think actually took him out of the play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the Hampus Lindholm goal. The Elias one I'm going to get to. The Aspero one I'm not going to put on him because that was Darnell Nurse can't catch a pass. It's in his feet. The Bruins go back 4-on-1. You got Regula sliding around, waving at the puck, and you get the first save, and then Aspero just goes and bangs it. I'm not putting that on Ingram at all. That's just a couple of bad breakdowns that leads to a 4-on-1 against. And then the Elias Lindholm one, like Benny was pointing out at 4:20 of the third, where it hits his glove and it goes in. That wasn't a great one. Yeah.
So he gets beat clean on the middle stack goal. I understand there's a breakdown and everything. I'm pretty sure it was McDavid's guy, and he didn't pick up on that.
And he came off the bench with momentum and some speed.
Yeah. So, I mean, you like a save there. It's also kind of tough. First one, you need to stop Pasternak on that bank. The last Lindholm goal was really bad. The Hampus Lindholm one was kind of, you take what you get with that. The Pasternak one-timer near the end of the game there, I mean, again... that
was a low shot too, was it not?
It goes 5-hole on him. Yeah. Like just kind of a
but it's Pasternak.
Yeah. It's another weird one, but it's why, maybe this Connor Ingram isn't an NHL goalie anymore. Maybe that's why, because the elite scores like that are able to pick corners on him. I know Pasternak scores tons of goals. He picks pretty much any goalie, but like it was a rough showing for Connor Ingram tonight. It was a rough showing for a couple of guys tonight too, but we're getting through the goaltending, and it was rough for Connor Ingram.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. The guys in front of him weren't particularly great, weren't sharp, but hey, instead of being like maybe he's not an elite goalie, I'll stick with he's still finding his game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with that.
Good. That's very nice of you.
Choice of words. I will say he's still finding his game. It's not going to be a smooth road to the top. It's always a little bit bumpy, and adversity can be a good thing, but it spoils the party tonight. Bellsy, if you're concerned about an area of this team coming out of the Christmas break, what would it be right now?
That's a great question, Tom. I'm worried a little bit about the defense. I look at it, and when I see Stastny, I say, okay, it's a good replacement. He's a decent replacement for Kulak.
Yeah.
It gives me hope knowing that Wallman's going to come back, and now you're going to have a pretty solid top five. At the trade deadline, can you upgrade the defense to make it, a little bit better, to maybe round it out? Because you got a lot of puck movers, but can you add some physicality to that back end? So that's one. But secondary scoring too. And I know we talked about it earlier, but like, if it's not McDavid, and it's not Draisaitl, and it's not Hyman, it's not Nuge, who is it? I mean, I'll add Roslovic to it because he's been scoring. But outside of those five guys, like, who else is going to do something? And if teams decide, okay, we're going to, clamp down on these guys, like Boston was hard on McDavid today.
Yep.
He took a few like heavy hits, and he took some splashes, and he had to grind through it. Now, obviously he had chances galore, but when they decide to key in on McDavid and they decide to key in on Draisaitl, well, who's going to carry the mail after that? And I think that's a legit problem that you're seeing from the Edmonton Oilers. Like, they just need to find more depth. Savoy, he's been good, but after that, I struggle to think of another guy that's going to be able to produce, especially when games get a little bit tighter.
Okay, did you mention Podkolzin?
I didn't know because, I mean, hey, I like his game. I know what he's going to give you, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, I know this guy's going to put one in when, push comes to shove, or, what he is. Is he secondary scoring? Yes, he is. Is he going to probably end up with 15, somewhere in that range goals? Yeah, I think he might. But I kind of put him maybe in that tertiary scoring, maybe not necessarily the secondary side of things.
Okay, before we dive into text, we've got a whole bunch. Keep those coming in, 780-218-9999. I'm going to try to rattle off as many as I can. But I just want to get on this because we made a big deal about it, and I think rightly so, in the pregame show on our station today throughout the morning and afternoon. And it was Andrew Mangiapane, his situation, getting healthy scratched in Winnipeg, not being happy about his scenario, not denying anything about potentially wanting out of Edmonton. And he gets an opportunity in the top 6, guys. I'm going to just read his stat line to you because we're looking for a statement or a spark from him. And what we end up seeing tonight is -1, no points, ends up playing 7:31.
He didn't play
2 shots.
He didn't play until the 8-minute mark of the third period.
Shifts.
Yeah,
1 hit.
Yeah.
It was 2 shifts, and if Roslovic was on the line.
Yeah. And then what else did he have here? Just look at, and that was it. So he had 1 giveaway. For a guy, looking potentially for a fresh start to entice other teams to make a trade for him, not hiding his displeasure, and getting an opportunity, quote unquote opportunity in the top 6. It was more of the same, and that's too bad.
Yeah, it is too bad. I mean, we all saw what he was in Calgary. Now, I'm not saying that the 35-goal player is what he truly is, but I don't think he also is what Washington is. Where he barely produced any points. He's probably somewhere in the middle, but one of the things that made him so effective when he was in Calgary was that he played with bite. And it seemed, at least when it was the Battle of Alberta, he was always in somebody's face. He was always trying to, piss somebody off, and you just don't see that. I mean, I guess there was maybe, a stretch of maybe 2 shifts in the game today where he was trying to do that. But at the same time, he's got to find a way, and it's similar to Frederic. They've got to find a way to be factors. In Boston, Frederic, you're a 40-point guy. You played second line, third line. You're counted on, but here you're not counted on to be the guy. You have to find, and it's something we just talked about when it comes to secondary scoring. Find a way to make an impact. Well, so what is that going to be? It's hard minutes, unfortunately, and that's what the Oilers need. And those guys, they're just not. They're not answering that challenge, and they're not answering, what the Oilers need from a depth role.
I can at least appreciate a little bit of his FU. Yeah, when he went out there, he'd stirred some stuff up. Yeah. He had that one shift where he was constantly dealing with someone, barking their ear off a little bit. But yeah, like you said, I mean, that's all fine and dandy, and trust me, I would love for Frederic to start doing that because I feel like we haven't seen that this year. Like that was kind of his role. Yeah, that would be a nice thing to see 10 do. But in terms when the whistles, in between the whistles, he hasn't been very good. And again tonight, I understand he gets the first look on the top 6 and quickly gets taken off it, but he didn't did not look like he deserved to be there. He didn't take the moment. Right, Jack Roslovic gets put in the top 6, and then I believe the first shift goes out and has a breakaway on Swayman on a good shot. He ends up scoring later. To me, the top 6 now shouldn't be changed. You are going Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, Pods, Draisaitl, Roslovic. That is the top 6. Those are the lines that work the best, in my opinion. And again, when the Oilers had momentum, it seemed like those were the lines that were generating them. The third line and fourth lines are where you got to figure out. And if Mangiapane's a third or fourth liner and not playing a whole lot, I don't know if he's going to be overly happy about that, which might lead to him being traded. So,
we know he won't be happy about that.
Yes.
Yeah. This, I think, is pretty clear now.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if you're not putting up points, you're not scoring goals, then tell me how you're going to impact the game. And so is it from a defensive standpoint? Are you going to be, Philip Deneau levels of good on defense, right? Are you Selke good? Well, clearly they're not Selke good. So then what do you got to do? You've got to be detail oriented. You need to know everything that happens, like when it comes to, I steal a line from Constantine. You got to know the player's handedness and which way the puck's going to travel more often than not. That's the level of detail that you have to have if you're not producing points and you want to be a factor.
Right.
So then are you killing? And if you're not killing, well, then what else is left? Well, then you need to be a physical presence. And that's what those guys need to do because he's not killing. He's not scoring. He's not detail oriented. So what else is left? Find a way to impact the game. And I'm not saying that he can't get there, but right now he's just not doing that. And the same goes for Frederick.
Okay, let's get to some text here, boys, and then we'll get some final thoughts from Belzy and let him celebrate with his lovely wife, Lindsay. 2026 is nearing. Let's go to Garen from the Combine Crew. Says, hey, boys, said it on the Hangout earlier. Needed to go back to Pickard. Sends the wrong message after his last game. They must really be leaning on Ingram. This team gets pushed around way too much. Needs some more truculence. Happy New Year's, fellas, from Garen from the Combine Crew. Great job today, Garen, with Belzy and Kelvin and Cass, and Awanik. Let's go to SJ Not in the Kootenays texting in, says, you want evidence this team is going nowhere. 4-on-4 with 3 minutes left. The team is down 4 goals, and 97 and 29 are out there. That's just malfeasance. ECHL coaching. SJ in the Kootenays. And then let's go to Jimmy O. Says, Evan Bouchard, a -2 this game. How could Hockey Canada do this? Yes, I think there's some sarcasm in that one. Well played, Jimmy O.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, Brandon from Windsor says, Happy New Year, Tommy and the crew. Very disappointed in the effort tonight. Reset and regroup. And then Coach Mike gets the last one before we go to Belzy for his final thoughts. Coach Mike says, can't sweep the homestand if you don't win the first game. There goes the idea of a 3-game win streak. Oilers played like they were thinking of their plans after the game. Happy New Year to EST crew and all the nasties from Coach Mike. Thank you, Coach Mike. Happy New Year to you and yours as well. Okay, Shawn Belle, we are going to have a busy Saturday because the Oilers play at 1:30 at home. We're off the air at noon for Hello Hockey, and then we're going to have to slide right into the pregame show at 12:30. So I'll probably be doing it in studio.
We aren't doing that. You two are doing that. So don't try to drag me into that. I'm going to be off to a birthday party.
Boy.
But yeah, it's going to be a fantastic day for you two. I'm going to enjoy my, the time on Hello Hockey. I think we have a pretty good guest, if I'm not mistaken.
Jackie Redmond will be joining us.
Yeah, it's another opportunity to get back in the win column, and it's a Philadelphia Flyers team that they're pesky. That's what they do really well. They're a pesky hockey team, and if you're not ready to go, they come at you in waves and they make it hard for you. So the Oilers need to take the time, enjoy their little party, their festivity tonight, get some rest, and then absolutely be ready to go against the Philadelphia Flyers.
Belzy, Happy New Year, my good friend, and great work as always. I'll talk to you tomorrow probably.
Yep, you will. Benny, stay safe, buddy.
I will.
Tommy, always looking good. Reed, love you. Nasties, stay safe.
There you go. There's our game analyst, Shawn Belle. His final time on EST for 2025. Great stuff from Belzy. By the way, the Flames absolutely dominate Philadelphia 5-1 at the Saddle Dome tonight. All right, let's bring in Reed Wilkins live from Rogers Place. Reed, fresh off of his work inside the Oilers locker room, and then, of course, in the Hall of Fame room with Chris Knobloch as we get you to Reed's Read, brought to you by Ewell, your power play specialist. Ewell has the gear you need for your next electrical project with 3 Edmonton area locations. And you can order online anytime at ewell.ca. Ewell, your Edmonton-based partner in power and source for all things electrical. One thing that the Oilers were not tonight was powerful and electrical, and they struggled in a 6-2 loss. Reed, Rick, how was the vibe in the locker room? What did Chris Knobloch say? Give us the Cole's notes, because I don't think we're going to be running that audio tonight.
Yeah, well, Roslovic and Draisaitl spoke for players. I mean, Roslovic said, this kind of turned in the second period. Draisaitl seemed just pretty overall disappointed. The execution wasn't good enough, didn't get any good looks on the power play, and obviously that let them down tonight. Chris Knobloch just did his questions out in the hallway outside the dressing room because there's something going on in the Hall of Fame room tonight. And, he just said that a lot of pucks wound up in their net off, some – I kind of said, it seemed like there were a lot of passes in feet and maybe some lapses in concentration and giving up a 4-on-1. And he said, and he said we also had some plays that wound up in the net that haven't in other games. and maybe that was a subtle critique of the goaltending tonight. I mean, this was the first night Ingram let in some goals that were cringeworthy, and like goals, not just goal. I mean, there were at least three you could probably question. I mean, any goaltender will let one in, but you can't let in that many in a night that have people shaking their heads. So that wasn't great either. So that's kind of a summary of some of the things that were said. Oh, Jari probably mid-January for a return. Wallman at least another week, he said. And Kapanen getting closer, but Knobloch also said he hasn't had a lot of practice time either. So brief summary of what I can remember from the availabilities. I mean, I felt like a lot of this game was McDavid against Swayman. Yeah, I mean, McDavid had 8 shots on goal after 2 periods. He was in alone. Well, one clear breakaway, and then 2 or 3 other times he cut in behind the defense. Swayman was great. I mean, maybe if McDavid finishes a couple of those and Ingram makes a save or two, you know, who knows? Maybe it's a 3-3 or 4-3 game for Boston in the third, and maybe the Oilers can push at the end. But they didn't execute well enough anyway, I thought, guys. I mean, I mentioned they gave up a 4-on-1 when they threw away a pass on a rush. There were the one, I can't remember which goal it was now, but I think Roslovic passed it into Podkolzin's skates, you know, like plays that they've been executing. They were pretty sloppy with some of the stuff like that. So they were the second best team on the ice tonight. And quite frankly, they've been the second best team on the ice for probably 7 of the 9 periods coming out of Christmas, maybe 8 of the 9 periods overall.
Yep.
You know, maybe you could say the third period in Calgary, they kind of outplayed the Flames, even though, but they didn't get, the goals they needed to tie it up.
Reed Wilkins joining us from Rogers Place for Reed's Read, brought to you by Ewell. How should we analyze this performance by Connor Ingram? Because really the other 3 games he started, he was pretty good.
Well, I think it should give people some pause. I mean, we know what the stats were coming up from the AHL, and then he plays 3 games and looks like a very solid NHL goaltender. Mm-hmm. And then, like, he did make some saves tonight. There were 2 or 3 plays. I was like, man, that's a really good save. But then, you know, Pasternak from behind the net, Middlestat from mid-range.
Lindholm.
I think it was Hampus Lindholm from along the boards.
Yep.
Short side. You know, there's, again, I don't necessarily like to pick away at every single goal. You know, the Roslovic goal on Swayman was not a good goal. But it was the only questionable one he gave in, and he made a ton of great saves. So for Ingram, I'm not going to say, he specifically needed to stop that one in particular. Like, if one of the 3 goals I mentioned goes in, okay, crap happens. But when all 3 go in a game, plus you get scored on a 4-on-1 that's not your fault, you know, then it adds up into 6 goals like this. Knobloch said the goaltending decision is basically a game-by-game decision, or maybe 2 games in advance. So I think we can assume Pickard on he might have even flat out said Pickard on Saturday. And then we'll see, right? Because then it's not, Nashville on Tuesday, so they got some space here. So probably Pickard Saturday, see how he plays. I would think that if Pickard plays well, maybe he gets a second consecutive start, which I know a lot of people will now argue he should have had tonight, which is a fair point.
Yes, absolutely. Reed Rick, Mangiapane, this was a talking point for most of the day. How did he do in his return to the lineup, in your opinion?
I don't know. He was okay. It was a skate issue in the third period, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think you realize that, but just to confirm that Knobloch said that. I thought he was okay. Like, he had a couple of chances off Draisaitl's setup, but Knobloch also said Roslovic's a better option on that line, and Roslovic's better suited as a winger, and specifically a winger for Draisaitl. So there is not room for Mangiapane in the top 6 on this team. I think that's a flat-out fact at this point.
Yep. Like
it or not, we can break down the signing and the performance and what the agent has or hasn't done, whatever. Well, not whatever. I mean, it's irrelevant. But the bottom, to skip over all that and to get to the end point, there's no room in the top 6 for Mangiapane. Because quite frankly, I'd move Savoy up ahead of him at this point.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Give us a peek ahead to Saturday afternoon against a Philly team that got absolutely destroyed in Calgary tonight.
Yeah, well, great for the Oilers, eh? They got Boston having gone winless in 6 and being angry. So if I imagine Philly will be angry. I think Philly's, was it not Wyshynski on with Dusty either this morning or yesterday saying, like, most people look at Philly and be like, well, they're going to drop off, but they're not dropping off. I mean, one of these teams where it's like, what's going to happen in the Eastern Conference? Like, it's crazy. Like, now Buffalo all of a sudden. It's
10-game
like
leader, baby.
No longer a laughing stock anymore. Yeah, I think it'll be a fun game. Unusual start time for 1:30, so we'll see what kind of vibe that brings. There's usually a vocal group of Philadelphia fans in the building because they're, I guess, an original 12 team that has a lot of fan support. So hopefully it's a fun game. Hopefully the Oilers put it together because I think that obviously their level of execution and detail has been below average overall since Christmas and quite frankly outright poor for long stretches of these last 3 games.
Riedrich, you are one who appreciates good stats and digging into history. How bad are the Oilers off the top of your head on New Year's Eve games, if you can recall?
I believe the record, you've probably updated it, I believe the record is now 5-16-5.
Yep.
And that's coming into this game. They were 3-1-1 in their last 5.
That's right.
So in like 2019 or whatever, they would have been 2-14-4 on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So they've improved over their last 6 games at least, but it's a very bad historical record.
Yeah, 289 winning percentage or point percentage, which is worst among active franchises on New Year's Eve games all time. One of those is a tie as well. Remember when we used to have those? All right.
Yeah.
Last question for you, big boy. It's New Year's Eve. You're going to have yourself a social sparkler. What is your beverage of choice, my friend?
There is as much as I enjoyed some 6 o'clocker lagers by Alley Cat over the holidays. That's an excellent beer choice.
Yes.
I do have, and I believe this was a beer of the week or dropped off by one of our partners recently. I do have a Wild Rose Brewery Cherry Porter in the fridge waiting for me. I think that's a really good beer.
All right. You enjoy that one, buddy. You were aces tonight. I'll tell you that much, as always.
Okay. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, Riedrich. There you go. There's Reed Wilkins with Reed's Reed, brought to you by Ewell, your Edmonton-based partner in power and source for all things electrical. We do have time for some more texts. Keep those coming in. 780-218-9999. Hop into the nasty chat as well. Benny, any follow-ups after what we heard from Reed and what we heard from Belsey?
I saw him walk out with those beers that he's going to have. They look pretty good. So I'm happy that he's going to get one tonight. But about his comments, just with like the whole Mangiapane thing and stuff. Yeah, he looks decent, but I think with him, you're expecting a big game from him. You're expecting a big response. You're wanting him to make himself noticeable. And after the whistles, he was a little noticeable, which I'll give him credit for. But in between the whistles, not a whole lot from him tonight. And so I thought it was disappointing. And like he was saying, highlighting the top 6, there's no room for him. There isn't. Right. And honestly, I if you're going into a deadline, I don't think the Oilers need to improve their top 6. I don't think so. I think Podkolzin will be the winger that is with Draisaitl at all times. It's just how it's going to be. Yeah. And I think Roslovic has played himself and has deserved a top 6 role on this team. And then a top line, to me, I wouldn't touch it. So for me, it's that bottom 6 you got to figure out. And Mangiapane doesn't want to be a bottom 6 guy.
No.
So lead into one thing.
Yeah, we'll see when it gets taken care of, how it gets taken care of. We know that the player and agent have had their say, done what they could, and now it's up to Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson to figure it out with other teams. Okay, let's get to the turning point of the game, presented by Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You have a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today at www.advantagesportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. I'm going to give honorable mention to a bunch of Swayman saves on Connor McDavid. I've got McDavid stopped on breakaway by Swayman. McDavid stopped on partial breakaway power play right after that. McDavid flying, sets up Hyman. It goes over the net. And then McDavid finally made that play over to Hyman on the power play where he converted. Brilliant play. However, to me, when you knew that the Oilers didn't have it for sure, because even when it was at 3-1, you're like, they might be able to get in there. Because Boston wasn't particularly sharp in their own zone either. Like they were a little bit loose as well. But it was that puck in Nurse's skate when he tried jumping into the rush. It goes back the other way for a 4-on-1. The Oilers are scrambling. You got Regula trying to figure it out. The first save is made by Ingram, and the puck's just sitting there. I think Ingram got caught up with a Boston player and another Oiler that was coming back. And then Jonathan Aspero puts it in to make it 4-1. To me, you knew they weren't coming back. It was over at that point. That was the clincher, in my opinion. So that's going to be your Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game. If you need a little help, maybe you need your body fixed up, go see the fine folks over at Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy at www.advantagesportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. Awesome crew over there. I've had a chance to chat with some of them over the last couple of weeks, and they are tremendous. All right, Benny, let's get to the Damon Bunting Real Estate Player of the Game. You want to do the reader or the liner?
Can you do it real quick? I had a tweet open that was about a tweet.
I can do it real quick. Yes, absolutely. All right, let's get to the Damon Bunting Real Estate Player of the Game. Damon Bunting, consistent top producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 18 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Benjamin Bartholomew Thompson, take it away.
Good try. Thank you, though.
That's everybody's middle name.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Do you know this?
No. To me, the player of the game for Damon Bunting, he's not on the 3 stars. By far the best player for the Oilers tonight. Best player on the ice, in my opinion, even though it didn't go on the stat sheet. We were talking about him, and he got player of the game, I think, a couple games ago when he was on the 3 stars. But I had to overwrite my rule. Connor McDavid, to me, he was the clear best guy on the ice. Again, when the rest of his team, I feel like, wasn't to the same level. I mean, I think Leon Draisaitl is playing pretty off right now. To me, like after that Christmas break, it's been a pretty rough 3-game stretch for him, I think. Mm-hmm. And tonight, again, was a rough one. That's not the case for Connor McDavid. He is still flying. He's still feeling it. This stretch he's been on, in my opinion, has been the best stretch of his career. Jack Michael said the same thing on the air today after his assist over to Hyman, which was just disgusting play. And it was I'm sure it was good to finally have one go in after like 3 or 4 chances not going. So to me, it's Connor McDavid being the player of the game for Damon Bunting.
All right. Well done, Benny. Let's wrap things up with a bunch of texts. I saw a whole bunch of them in the inbox, and we're going to get to those right now. Let's go to Peterman. Peterman says, let's blame the real culprit. Ingram trimmed his beard. Pucks aren't getting stuck in there anymore. Poppy was a little sloppy. Good one, Peterman. Shotski Jerry with his Bruins jersey on. I think that's a Bergeron jersey, looking good. Very nice, very nice. Probably enjoyed that game very much. Happy New Year, Shotski Jerry. Great to hear from you. Andrew Texan says, from Andrew, all caps, the Oilers are not going to go far in the playoffs if they keep allowing too many goals. I still think they need better defensive play. Perhaps they will try to make a trade in the future. Presently, they will not make the Stanley Cup with this lineup. Sorry, guys. From Andrew. Came in hot, went out quietly with the sorry. Andrew, I think you have a good take there. I'm not going to disagree with you. Stanley, who is back in YYC. Oh, no, he's still in YEG. Okay. Stanley says, ugh, brutal game. 88, garbage. What does number 10 contribute to this team? Great question. Why does every other former Oilers circle us on the calendar and show up? 10 was garbage in both games against his former team. Arvidsson, 2 points. Lusai, Stanley in YEG, won last night before heading back to YYC. Stanley, Make it a good one, my friend. Be safe. Have a few libations. Enjoy the splendor and fun with family and friends. Let's go to Larzy. Larzy says, Tommy, Belsy, Benny, quick and painless, brutal to watch, tough game. Love you, boys. Happy New Year. Stay safe. Thank you. Well job, Larzy. Larzy, same to you. Always appreciate it, sir. Andrew, the accountant. What is up with physical/rat-like players coming to the Oilers not doing rat stuff anymore? Arvidsson, Mangiapane, Frederick. Is that a culture thing? Andrew, maybe, or it could be an opportunity thing or getting stuck on the bench thing. It's a great question. Totally valid. We're wondering too. Let's go to Nolan from St. Albert. Says, Oilers got clapped. Great showing by the Bruins. Effort has been rough since the break. A continuation of a problem that has plagued this team for years. Ingram isn't responsible for the loss. He made some great saves, but he might have showed some cracks tonight. Power play had plenty of chances and couldn't convert, but even if it did, it's almost impossible to win when you give up 6 goals. Happy New Year to my fellow Nasties and everyone at EST. And then Nolan also had a tour of the Hall of Fame room. Do we ever get numb seeing Gretzky's locker and all the other memorabilia? Yep. Yeah, you kind of get used to it. And then I had the privilege of getting to know those guys and get to see a lot of the old Hall of Famers, and you got to pinch yourself every now and then. So that's very cool that you got that experience, Nolan, in St. Albert. Very happy you enjoyed that and remember it very fondly. And they do have a very cool Hall of Fame room. And I think it's the only satellite official Hockey Hall of Fame room.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Yeah. So it's a part of the Hockey Hall of Fame, and it's a satellite part of it. And I think it was the first one. I believe it's the only one so far. I'm sure other teams could do that in the future. Troll texts in, says, Arvidsson did more tonight than his whole career in Edmonton. Sounds like they should start requesting to not play on New Year's Eve. Happy New Year, gents. Troll to you too, the same. Taco, you get the last word as we wrap things up. Taco says, boys, we keep asking for more from the bottom 6, but they barely get to play because Knobloch keeps overplaying the top 2 lines or goes nuclear and plays McDavid and Draisaitl like crazy. Guys, leave Edmonton and start scoring when they get to their new teams and they get minutes. From Taco. Yes, it's super frustrating, but when you have opportunity and you're hungry and you want to prove to everyone you can still do it, let's use Arvidsson as an example tonight. It's pretty damn good motivation to have a multi-point night, which Victor Arvidsson managed to do, and he was instrumental on a few goals, obviously, with the assists. And we talk about the screen he provided on the Lindholm goal, the Hampus Lindholm goal. So, yeah, that's a very, very good point there by Taco. Can't deny it. Some good text tonight. Nasty chat. Hope you guys are doing well. Penner's Pancakes. I'm just happy Tommy snagged Jackie for Saturday. That is impressive. Jackie's a good friend. Look forward to having her back on Hello Hockey. I'm sure she's going to have some great stories to share. And then we'll get to Peg. Pagnotta will have a bunch of updates on everything that's going on. He's got his fingers on everything and on the pulse, and he's one of the best. So we're going to have a great Hello Hockey on Saturday, and we're going to follow it up a half hour later with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show when the Oilers take on the Flyers. Sue wants to know, Bowman should be fired. When will the Edmonton media have the courage to speak out on the Oilers GM disastrous performance? Yeah, we'll throw some high hard ones at him when he speaks, I guess.
Yeah. Nah. You guys are supposed to hold them accountable, though. So
we try. Not everyone in the Edmonton media is on the same page. I'll tell you that, Sue. I'll tell you that. It's a weird group. It's a weird group. All right, Benny, for the last time in 2025, platform floor is yours. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, disappointing game is what it is. You move on. 2026, here we come. A thank you to the Nasties. This is my first, I was on Hello Hockey last year in 2024, but being a part of EST in the pre and post this year. So thank you guys for welcoming me. And yeah, let's continue with some great shows in 2026 and keep it safe tonight, but have some fun.
Well said, kid.
Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you.
Well done. All right, that's going to do it for 2025 on Edmonton Sports Talk from all of us here at EST, the entire crew. Thank you guys so much. It's been amazing the first 2 years and a little bit. and this thing's only going to get bigger and better, and we can't do it without you. So big thank you to everybody who's been with us this year and who's been with us since the beginning. On to a fun and great 2026. The Oilers, hopefully they can turn it around a little bit, put together a winning streak perhaps this year at some point coming up. And we'll see you on Saturday here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game show. We're off tomorrow. We're back Friday. So until then, be safe, have fun, mix in a water, enjoy your New Year's, everyone. Happy New Year from all of us here at EST. For Benny, Belzy, and Riedrich, I'm Tom. Have a great night, everyone.